Oh, one of my favorite egg facts is that, like,
if there's anyone that's ever deserved to be hit in the face, Vince McMahon.
Yeah, you're not actually hitting people with the neck breaker. Yeah, so you see, it was called Moonfall because the moon fell and it was the bad guy the whole time.
Oh.
You know, I was kind of worried about talking about that again on the show today, but I mean, it was like another hour, so sorry if that bit took a while. I just really wanted to still talk about Moonfall.
No, I mean, honestly, I feel like I understand. There's a lot of things I feel like I understand better for having heard about Moonfall. So I'm really glad that I was at least around for this one.
A movie.
A movie, if there ever was one.
Welcome back to Off the Air. What you just heard was actually a bit. It was just a segment, a joke even. One where I was pretending that we just were getting done with a long conversation that never actually took place.
That was a very loud bottle opening from me.
That was really loud.
That was really loud.
Boom.
I was just opening it up so I could pour some.
You ever seen the video of the guy, Hershey Wood, the greatest hot dog shooter?
No.
Oh,
is that the guy
Wood?
who like horks a hot dog out of his throat?
You know what I'm talking about.
I've seen that video.
God, just boom. That's what your bottle sound reminded me of.
Yeah, that was just a
doom. I love that guy. I hope he's okay.
I was about to say, is there a reason he wouldn't be? And then I remembered that the only thing I knew about him was that he, you know, shoots hot dogs out
down
of his
a hole and then shoots them out of his throat. Like, I feel like, while a fun party trick, you know, you have a pretty high chance of dying behind stage, you know, when you're practicing.
Mm-hmm.
Just because you are inhaling and then projecting hot dogs out of your mouth. So, like, hole. Dope. The sound is really what gets me in that video.
Yeah, it's definitely. I don't like it.
Dope.
I don't know.
It sounds sickly. It sounds like the sound like something that would only happen naturally, but in an event that is very stressful for something. You know, like an animal dying or something like that. It's not a sound that would occur in outside a state of duress.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the word duress?
I do like the word duress as a general rule. It feels like it holds a lot of weight to it that not a lot of other words of the same energy tend to hold. It's
like a clean way of saying in a fucked up spot, you know?
Yeah.
It's like it's a way that's very professional sounding to be like, oh yes, they were under duress. When in reality, like, you could just be like, oh dude, shit was fucking hitting the fan right now. Duress. It conveys such extreme emotions in such a nice package.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, generally, I don't know. It's a powerful statement. I feel like duress can sometimes impart like a deeper sensation than I'm in a fucked spot, you know? I feel like there's just sometimes, I don't know, more to it.
Sometimes when you're in the fucked spot, you don't experience duress, but you unduress. Am I right, everybody?
Mm-hmm.
Woo! Anyway, so I finally jumped off the Warhammer deep end, and I got some miniatures.
Miniatures, huh?
Miniatures.
Miniature.
I got a lot more than I thought I was going to get.
Mm-hmm.
Because I got to get a pretty good price on them. Bought them off a Facebook marketplace situation where it's like a buy-sell, like swap group.
Yeah.
And dude was like, I'm unloading all of these Seraphon because I don't, it wasn't like a listed reason, but if I had to take a single guess because they were all dusty, it's the fact that he probably bought them like 5 years ago and just was like, well, I'll do that later. And then just left and was like, oh, well, it's been 5 years. I'm selling them. So I bought some thinking I was going to get like a really good deal overall. You know, like a 70% discount on what would be the market price for him. Mm-hmm. And then it turns out he sent me like double what I thought I was getting.
Really?
So it's like an insane amount. Like it's like I have, and this probably doesn't mean anything to most people, but I was expecting for the price, you know, around 1,000 points or so, which is how you score models. It's also roughly how Games Workshop prices things. Not always, but sometimes.
Yeah.
I was thinking I was going to get like 1,000 points worth of models, but it's actually sitting a little over 2,000. 2,000 is like a standard tournament size army. So like it's like that's a lot to get at one time.
Yeah, I was gonna say this man set you up with like
too.
a heavy hitting thing.
Yeah, I mean it's not like I mean, it's not like a good army, if that makes any sense. It's not like amazing.
2,000 points of pure mid, overwhelm them with numbers.
Yeah, it's just a lot of like the Saurus warriors and like the little skinks. There's like a box of, well, I have them in a box now. They all came in like a big package, but there's like 35, 36 of the little skink guys, which are like just the little fellers that are kind of your wall that just eats charges and dies. So I got like 35, 36 of those, and I thought I was only getting like 20. So I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I got some cavalry. I thought I was getting 10 of those, and I got 15. I was like, oh, that's pretty sick. There's other units that are like, you're like elite guard type troops. They're like a strong foot soldier. They're not like a weaker unit, but they are still a foot soldier. They're not like a general or a leader. I thought I was getting 5 of those guys because they're pretty expensive and they cost a lot of points. But I got 10, so I got twice as many units as I thought. And then like another priest that I didn't think I was getting, so like that's another leader unit I didn't expect. And then a big T-Rex with a guy on it, which came as ordered. And then like I thought I was getting around 40 of like the foot soldier dudes, and I was like, oh, that's a lot. I don't know what I'm gonna do with all those. I'll figure something out. I got like 80. I haven't done like a full count, but there was 20-ish assembled already, and then roughly 60 on that were like still on the plastic that I had to like cut off and trim and build. So like a lot, like a ton of units, more than I thought. I literally double in some cases, and at least 50% more across the board. So a lot of units, which is cool because it's a great deal, but it's not cool because that's a lot of units. I gotta do something with them now.
I got faith in you to find something to do with them, though.
Oh, I mean, yeah, but like the thing about like the miniature collecting and the hobby painting and all that and assembling and the kit building is it's already pretty overwhelming. You go get like a box from Games Workshop and you're like, oh, this is going to be like a week-long project. This is like 8 boxes worth at once, and I've never done it before. So it's just like really overwhelming to like start. But I've built a good 10 of the little soldiers already. I built half the cavalry guys, and some of them were already assembled, so I'm making headway. But boy, they sent me a lot of fellers.
I think I'm gonna pop into the same group that you're in because I'm interested now, and I definitely want to get the same game that you're buying because you're getting Sigmar, and
yeah,
you know, while 40K would probably be easier for me to acquire,
no, they're both pretty. You can get them even at a local spot. I don't know. I mean, it doesn't matter if it's a Griffin's Lair. I don't know if it matters if I say the name. It's not like it's neither an ad nor is it like a deterrent. It's just that's a game store nearby us. And I think they sell some of the Age of Sigmar stuff. And yeah, keep the lookout, because if you're in the Warhammer sphere, which I don't want to keep us in for too long on the podcast, everybody knows for the most part. If you know Warhammer, you probably know Warhammer 40K, which is the space futuristic one. There's also the other big one is Warhammer Age of Sigmar, which is their like fantasy version of it. In 40K, the tagline is, you know, in the grim darkness of the future, there is only war. Age of Sigmar is much more of like might and myth and legend and heroes. And I think I'm drawn to it a lot more because it's less grimdark. It's still like a little gritty and can be intense. I mean, it's medieval like warfare, which is not a pretty thing when you narrate it. But the actual setting is like, it's a little more lighthearted, a little less like, oh, by the way, everyone there was actually eaten alive by the grass that grew up from the planet because it was just like that. And then everyone else went to fight there. And on top of the man-eating grass, they actually were like gutted on the fields by evil bugs that used them to consume their mass and create a fleet that was stronger. I'm like, it's fine. But if I'm going to get into it, I want to be like, yeah, so these lizards, the whole world was ending. The universe was collapsing on itself. And this one frog was like, I, instead of dying, will use sheer force of will to bend myself outside of reality until they recreate the universe, and then I'm just going to pop back in. And I think that's really funny.
Honestly, though.
It's just wizards, frog wizards.
Frog wizards are a good time. Like, objectively, a funny concept.
Who doesn't love frogs? And then who doesn't love wizards? And they sit in little floating chairs like the people on WALL-E. It's hilarious. And there's just like a ton of stuff going on. But yeah, there's 40K, Age of Sigmar. Those are like the two big ones. There's also the Horus Heresy, which is like 30K, they call it. And in 30K, you got a situation where basically it's the time when everything went to shit and like humanity started crumbling because they turned on themselves. And then there's also, they're making one called the Old World, which is, I think, adjacent to Age of Sigmar. It's not out yet, and I think it's going to kind of be adjacent to Age of Sigmar the way that the Horus Heresy is adjacent to 40K.
Yeah.
And that's all the Warhammer talk for now. I don't want to go too deep into like the lore because it's just it's very overwhelming at first.
Man, I'm flipping through this group right now. There's just so many like fun painted armies for sale.
Yeah, that's the one thing though. I didn't want to buy anything that was painted. Noah asked to join this group. Am I even able to review it?
You're able to like let me do things?
No. I don't know why it sent me a notification. Because now I'm looking at my notifications and it's not in there. It's
weird that it's telling me that my application is pending because the only reason I can see in the group is because I already got let in.
Yeah, I don't know why. That's really strange. It actively, like in real time, was like, Noah Dietz has requested to join the group. And then that's it.
Interesting.
I can't see the notification anymore. It sent me one.
It's because I'm in already.
Go for it.
I'm going to switch topics a little bit and talk about the loud wine bottle real quick.
Okay. Oh, that's what the bottle was. I thought it was your water bottle, and I was like, man.
No,
do you put hot water in there and shake it up or something?
Pressurized fresh wine. So I don't know if this is a little tradition that you're familiar with, so I'm just going to give you the quick rundown. The Beaujolais Nouveau is the first harvest of grapes each year in France, a certain area. I'm assuming the Beaujolais area. I don't 100% know. I don't know all the details.
Is that an area, or does it just mean like first flush, first harvest?
Well, there are other Beaujolais. Beaujolais.
Jesus, that's fucking French as hell.
Isn't it though?
Beaujolais Nouveau.
In the Beaujolais district of southeastern France, yeah.
It is in fact a district, yeah.
So the Beaujolais Nouveau is the first harvest of that district, and it is a tradition for people to they pick it up for Thanksgiving. It is not allowed to be released up until a week before Thanksgiving. It's like shipped around and just kept under wraps until then. And
I've never heard of this before.
Yeah, among wine people, it's a little bit of a tradition.
Among us.
Yeah. I decided this is a cool little thing because I want to have some more traditions in my life, and the idea of just getting a single bottle of this each year is actually kind of nice.
Do that.
You know?
Thank you for going along with the bit, by the way.
No problem.
No, that's actually really cool. I think that sounds fun. I mean, it's nice to be a part of something, as we've discussed previously.
Yeah.
And being a wine guy is one of those things. I have no disdain for wine at all. Like, I think I could be a wine guy. Mm-hmm. I just have never really liked it enough to justify getting involved in it.
See, I hate Merlot. I have found that to be the one Merlot.
I'm a white guy.
That I what?
I like white wine.
I see.
Just announcing for the world.
Yeah, I don't know. I do not care for Merlots at all, and because of that, I thought I hated wine.
I just said I'm a white.
And I discovered that I really like cabs. I like Pinot Noir, and there's a couple of whites that I enjoy as well. Yourself
I like
included.
A Chardonnay. If I'm drinking a wine, gun to my head, pick a wine. I'd say, hey, dude, it's an easy question. Why are you threatening violence? But I guess I'd go with Chardonnay. I'd probably be really nervous though if you had a gun to my head.
Are you a buttery Chardonnay or not?
Yeah, I am. I don't know if I overall prefer a buttery Chardonnay, but I do enjoy them. It's you know what? I'm a buttery Chardonnay guy.
I don't know. I do like a buttery Chardonnay. It's just kind of like, it's smoother, If I want to drink,
it really is buttery for what it's worth. Like, obviously not genuinely buttery. It's not like they add like a pat of butter in there, but like the mouthfeel of it does have that richness, that thickness.
It's I forget. We talked about it in class one time, but it's something to do with the acid conversion changes like one thing over to like a lactic acid, so it actually gives you the actual milk,
actual like lactose kinda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I like Chardonnay. If I have to go with the red wine, I flounder, if I'm going to be honest with you. If it came down to like, if I was at like a fancy dinner and I was ordering like a red wine pairing for something like a steak, which I wouldn't be ordering, honestly. I don't know what I would get. I think I would defer to the sommelier. But it's also assuming I've ever been to a restaurant where they have one of those. I don't think that I have. Mm-hmm. But in theory, I don't know.
Never been to Olive Garden.
They have sommeliers at Olive Garden?
No, I guarantee they don't.
I would lose my fucking mind if they did.
It would be funny though.
And I don't know. Maybe I genuinely just have only ever had a little bit of red wine here and there. Mm-hmm. Maybe like a cab or something. I don't know. I've got to get out there.
You're more of a cab guy. I have heard that. Yeah.
That's only because of the elaborate lie I constructed is the only reason I'm like, maybe I like cabs the most. I don't know. For wine I actually like, I know for sure Chardonnay.
I do like cabs though. And Chardonnay, I don't like a thin white wine. I don't like a Pinot Grigio too much. I don't care for a Sauvignon Blanc as a general rule, or an unoaked Chardonnay. Unoaked Chardonnay is just Sauvignon Blanc, in my opinion. But I love a Riesling. I love any German white I've had has been quite like pleasant as well. They do a lot of Rieslings, like Gewürztraminer, and a couple other ones, a Sylvaner. You know, I have a lot of fun with that. But this Beaujolais is quite interesting to me because if you were to ask me 3 days ago what I tasted, I would have told you bananas.
Huh? Belgian yeast or something? What's going on with it? And
while I'm not going to tell you I was wrong in the past, it definitely doesn't taste like bananas like I thought it did.
Okay.
But yeah, that's the other cool thing about the Beaujolais Nouveau. Every year is different because it's a
new year.
Yeah, because they don't blend it. Because there's, every major wine group out there will blend their grapes to maintain a consistent flavor profile year to year to year to year. There are very few mass-produced wines that are not blended to maintain a consistent flavor. Wines that are released with years, you start to accept that, some years are going to be different than others. But for the most part, even those are still blended to maintain a consistent flavor. You're not going to pick up as much different stuff as you maybe think you will.
Yeah.
But that's the thing about the Beaujolais is that it stands up and says, no, every year is going to be different. This is just our first harvest. Nothing done to it. It just goes.
What does a bottle of that run you?
$15.
That's not bad at all.
Not at all. For a yearly tradition, $15 to $20. Once a year, I'll do that. I'm not going to go spend like $50 or anything dumb like that, but I'll happily go out and get a little bit here and there.
Why not? I mean, that's a good thing to be into. It's a fun thing too, especially at that price point. If it's like $100 bottle, you'd have a much harder sell.
Yeah. Because, I don't know. It's just a cool little thing to do. And it's because it's inexpensive. It is an accessible tradition for me to start up. And if I ever wanted to get like bigger into it, I suppose I could, but I don't. Yeah,
but like how big into it can you be? You just buy it.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I should go buy a bottle of that. I probably won't.
Probably won't, but you could.
I think last time I bought a bottle of wine was last time I made mulled wine, which was like I think New Year's Eve 2 years ago.
I'm so excited to make mulled wine this year.
Oh yeah, New Year's Eve 2 years ago. Holy shit. That was just a Wegmans red blend.
Mm-hmm. I mean, when you're doing a mulled wine,
you're adding a whole bunch of spices to it and cooking it for an hour. Yeah.
But I had a mulled wine recently that was pre-made.
Making mulled white wine this year?
Mulled white wine?
Yeah, fuck it.
Well, more power to you. Why not? You could probably have fun with that.
I make the rules.
I had one because usually I just go with like I always got the same 2 bottles of 19 Crimes for the last few years. This year, though, I had a pre-made one and it had port and Cabernet in it. And I'm like, oh yeah, you could definitely lean into like a port to bring in some real big fullness to your wine. Why not?
Why not?
Boo. But yeah, I don't know.
You're a wine guy.
Yeah, it's fun too. I'm not trying to be a wine guy in a pretentious way. I'm very distinctly trying to not become a pretentious wine guy because I know it's definitely possible. But hey.
Oh, it's super possible. It's actually, I would say, easy. Especially once you get your toes in the water, it's really easy to just go all the way in.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, when you like work surrounded by it and people who know what they're talking about with it, it's really easy to just like get that momentum going and become a snobby wine guy before you realize it.
Especially when you're into dry wines, because you already have that immediate superiority to sweet wine people.
My wine.
My wine.
Thank you. No, I can see that though, because I think there's a stigma against sweet wine people. Maybe arguably deservedly so.
Mm-hmm. It's because there's people that are like, hey, I like sweet wine, and that's the end of the conversation. And then there's people that are like, that nasty bitter wine. I hate bitter wine. And it's like, it's not bitter wine, it's dry wine. And they're like, it's so bitter. Well, I'm not sitting here talking about how your fucking glass of sugar water is like terrible, but I think that too. So maybe, I don't know, maybe back off dry wine's case there. Why not?
I feel like I have never experienced that, but I have experienced plenty of people who are just like, I will drink barefoot pink Moscato and I won't drink anything else. And that's totally fine. Live your life.
More power to you.
It is good. Like, that's the thing. Cause like you said, it's just a cup of sugar water. Like, it's good in the same way that like Gatorade's good.
And there's some
like, of course it's good.
They're way better than others too, because I don't like overly sugary sweet wines, but there's a couple that have the sweetness that's like, it's very sweet, but it still has like, it doesn't taste sugary, and that delicate flavor that's in there is just amplified by the sugar. And I love that. I think
sometimes overly sugary is fun too, though.
Not for me, but...
You don't drink like a Gatorade?
I don't like to, if we're being honest, no.
I like a good, like, like MD 2020 type beverage.
Oh, God.
Now and again. Actually, not that specific one that's fucking abysmal. I think that alcohol and sugar don't actually mix that well in a lot of situations, but I think that an overly sweet beverage is fun.
I can agree with that.
Just not as a regular beverage, because you're just like you're gonna die.
Because I like a milkshake, and there's no
once a month,
that if like not just a bunch of sugar. And it's like I feel like a lot of stuff like that too is made better by not having it as frequently.
For sure, because sugar is one of those things that like it's I feel about sugar the way that my friend Joe feels about water, which is that you can't become addicted to it. That's right. You thought I was talking about Joe Biden. I was talking about Immortan Joe from Mad Max Fury Road.
I had no idea where you were going with that.
That's right. I could have also been talking about my other friend, Samoa Joe.
I do be loving Samoa Joe.
You love Samoa Joe? Is this true?
I don't know much about him, but he is one of the only names in wrestling that I know. So I have a positive feeling toward him.
I think it's funny because one of his gimmicks is like people will go to hit him with like their big move, and he'll just like wag his finger. No, he'll just like wag his finger like nope, and then just like turn around and walk away in the middle of their move, which is hilarious because I mean obviously professional wrestling is like mostly fake, kind of fake. I mean, a lot of like they're not literally like kicking each other in the head, but they are like jumping off tables with their elbows on. Like it's not like you can get hurt, like
Yeah.
But it's really funny when people will go to do a move that is clearly normally faked or choreographed, because otherwise you're just you're not actually hitting people with the neck breaker.
Yeah.
It's, you move around and you let them go at certain points, and because you don't want to kill people, that's not the goal, but you want to make a spectacle. But sometimes they'll go to use those obviously choreographed moves and he'll just like walk away, and it's really funny.
I do like that.
Because if you're going to jump off the ropes at somebody and they just walk to the other side of the ring, you can't do it anymore, and it's dumb. Samoa Joe. I've been not getting into wrestling, but I have been, I suppose, discovering wrestling as a thing, because friend of the podcast Rob, very into it.
Of course. I'm
a social person. Yeah, so I actually, I don't know, I haven't had a Twitter in a little while now, but
shout out to Rob's Twitter for being 90% like beefing with people in the wrestling sphere. Like, not even subtweeting, like quote tweeting someone and saying, this is the stupidest person I've ever met, and then replying to that with a reason, which to me, I mean, he never misses because I don't know what he's talking about. So as far as I'm concerned, he's always right.
Because wrestling fans are like rabid dogs sometimes. Oh, yeah. Like, they're just crazy.
Rob included, I think he would admit.
Is, oh, for sure. But the thing about, like, wrestling fans and wrestling is, like, I always believed, like, my whole life, yeah, that shit's just fake. Like, bar none, walk away, that's it. Then, like, actually, like, watching it, reading it, looking into any of it, for some people, it's very different levels of fake. because some of the wrestlers are insane. And like they're literally like, which makes sense. I mean, it is their livelihood. It is like their like everything. But some of the business side drama is so funny to me because, well, a lot of it's staged and a lot of it's like heel turns and, you know, putting people over and stuff like that. That are industry terms where, yeah, you're going to lose the match because this guy is young and he's trying to get like big and you're like getting older, ready to retire.
Yeah.
So you're going to lose the match so he looks really cool, but you're going to fight him really hard so it looks like he had to earn it. Stuff like that, where it's fake, but it's still like they are, you know, putting themselves out there and that's cool. Some of these people, and I know this is one that like I am going to talk about, but I'm not going to talk about the aspect that I think is kind of expected, which is like Chris Benoit. And I know it's a touchy subject, but I'm not talking about anything that was done at the end of his life. Years prior, he met his probably like third wife, because a lot of these wrestlers be going through marriages left and right. Because there was some guy he was having like an in-ring feud with who was like, hey, wouldn't it be really funny if as part of the feud, you pretended to start dating my wife? And you'll never guess what happened.
In real life, did this happen?
Yes. As part of the fake feud, they were like, oh, it's like part of the fake feud, you guys will be like seen together in public and like doing different stuff. So we're going to like have like people like, oh, they caught him leaving the same house or something like that. As part of the in-ring spectacle, as part of the show. And yeah, it turns out they ended up getting married, and both of them were married at the time when, so Chris Benoit was married, and this woman that he ended up marrying was Nancy Sullivan, I believe, was her name. I don't know if it was at the time or not, but they ended up getting, they were both married, and for the sake of the show, they ended up fake dating to the point where they just actually got together in real life, both of them leaving their spouses for each other and getting married. And that's not the only example of it. There's like several examples of that exact thing happening. That's fucking crazy. Like,
yeah, no, that is crazy.
Yeah, that's insane. I mean, but these are also people who have devoted their lives a lot of times to wrestling, and they're like really into it, and it's everything to them. So like sometimes they just keep it going outside of the ring. I think that's really funny though, that he was like, wouldn't it be funny if like as part of our feud you pretended to date my wife as like a feud, and then like a month later his wife's like, I'm leaving you for the guy you had me fake date, and he's like, I'm leaving my wife for the person that I was fake dating. No,
it is very interesting.
I mean, absolutely, like I'll say it, bit of a scumbag move on all fronts. Like, what? Why would you think, just have him like pick her up and run out of the ring one day. Don't do that. Don't be like, yeah, you guys should like stay at the same house and travel together and eat meals together and basically be fake dating all the time in real life while we're both married. You don't have to go that far. Just have him, you know, pick her up ringside and kiss her and be like, yeah, I think your wife's cute, and then beat him up. Like, why did you do? Whose idea was this? Why? Oh, man. But yeah, that's some of like the lore of wrestling that when I learn, I'm like, what is this industry? What the fuck is happening?
It's just like some people.
It's like you peel up the floorboards and there's just rats everywhere. You're like, what? There were rats here the whole fucking time, buddy. Very funny to me though.
Because there's always a chance of getting way too caught up in your work. But there's just something about the wrestling industry that like, it really, really seems to attract the kind of people that well, it's, you know, because it's a bunch of musclehead theater kids for the most part is the vibe, right?
It's like, it is a perfect hybrid between the theater and stage plays and like the circus and like feats acts. And so like, it's one of the last bastions of like actual constant live performative theater, but because it also has some of that carnival circus vibe to it, it's also those people's lives.
Yeah.
And I mean, it makes sense why like people get way overcommitted to it and the types of people that really run with it and really make their way in the company. Like, there's a reason for it, and it's because they are traveling to house shows every week, to big pay-per-view events every couple months. They're going to Monday Night Raw every week. They're going all over the country to different cities all the time. And the only people they're surrounded by are the other wrestlers, who are also muscle-bound, like, crazy dudes and women that are, like, on the same tier of crazy that these people are. They're all carnies and theater kids, and they're only seeing each other all the time. So, like, they just kind of be like that.
I was gonna say it's like in a very incestuous community, but I don't mean it the way that it definitely sounds like I mean it.
No, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, you know, it's like it's such insular, I guess I could say. It's
where it's like if you're a professional wrestler,
community.
your best friend is probably a professional wrestler.
And
because
it makes these
you're
like
seeing them 5 times a
larger
week.
than life like personalities out of people who have a lot of issues turning that off. Like, you know, all of the issues that like Hulk Hogan has and stuff like that.
And there are many.
Oh yes. I still love that when he was sued, I think it was like assault charges or something. But because
no, it was like that. It was like it wasn't it was the porn thing leaking.
The porn thing leaking.
Like
that
the
was
sex
it.
tape thing.
The sex tape. But he's like, they told him that he had to take off his bandana and everything in court. And he's like, well, actually, you're suing Hulk Hogan. And this is Hulk Hogan. You're not suing whatever his normal name is.
It was the greatest.
The judge was like, nah, you're right. You can dress like this then. And he got to act like Hulk Hogan through the whole thing. A respectful Hulk Hogan.
To be tried as Hulk Hogan. Which is so crazy to me.
Yeah. I don't know. I love shit like that. And then there's like, you don't see it as much anymore. Like a lot of your current era wrestlers are like normal, jacked out of their minds people.
And
like,
they've also, there's not even that many, like there are still jacked out of their minds people, but it's a lot more, I mean, they've really cracked down on a lot of like the drug use.
Oh yeah. But I'm specifically what I was gonna say is you don't see people like Andre the Giant anymore. Like,
true. There's still a couple
in the nice, not in a rude way, like legitimate freaks of nature people who are like, well, here I am. I'm gonna throw some people around. And
yeah, there's still a couple here and there that they'll just get a guy who's like, hey, I'm 7 foot tall. They're like, signed. And it's true though. If you're like, hey, I have the physical build of LeBron James. I'm 6'10" and like jacked as hell. Can I wrestle? They're like, can you act? And you're like, well, no, not really. They're like, well, I guess you don't need to. We'll put you in a mask and have you throw people.
I love how many wrestlers are just, oh, we're going to have to teach you how to act. And until then, you get to wear this weird mask.
Yeah, there's some like, I don't know. I think wrestling is just a really fun and funny thing. Obviously, most of it being in-ring stuff is all staged and scripted. Sometimes there's been a few moments that weren't, and they have their own controversies that surround them. But I just think it's kind of neat that it's a whole like ordeal, like a whole business thing. It's essentially actors, but they're all vying for better contracts and better spots. And it just creates such a like. It's gotta be the weirdest work environment on the planet. Like your office is constantly moving. And everybody around you is someone that's actively competing to get those belts, those top spots. And that's so weird to me. I wouldn't last like a day in the life of an AEW or WWE star. These massive touring acts that just go across the country.
I think another fun element of that is just that for the longest time, I was just, I think we've talked about this before, where it's just like, oh, wrestling's fake. As like the slam dunk, ended the conversation, you idiot. Wrestling's not even real. And a lot of wrestling fans are like, yeah, man, we know that's not what we're watching. We're watching the stories. We're having fun with this, you know?
Yeah, it's theater.
Yeah, and
like, no, Stone Cold Steve Austin probably didn't hit someone with a steel chair as hard as he physically could.
Yeah, Stone Cold Steve Austin probably did not run over a man with a bulldozer, you know?
No, I think he did.
Actually, no, you're right. But you know, it's just, but who cares? It's fun. Yeah. Literally.
And you get those moments that are real, and those are crazy.
Yeah.
Like there's a whole, like, I was just learning about like the Bret Hart situation where he got like screwed over. And then like afterwards in the locker room, he was like, hey, bro, get Vince McMahon the fuck out of here. I'm going to beat his ass. And then Vince McMahon was like, hey, come on now. We don't have to do that. I'm sorry. You know, I didn't want to do this, but here we are. And blah, blah, blah. And then he literally like got out like of the shower and then punched Vince McMahon in the face so hard it like broke his face and ankle.
And you know, I'm going to say it. If there's anyone that's ever deserved to be hit in the face, Vince McMahon is in the top 10 at the very least.
Learning that, like, off the air, his contract over, he just walked out of the locker room and uppercut Vince McMahon with the force of 1,000 suns is so funny to me.
It's a great example, or not an example, it's a great reminder of the fact that these are a bunch of very large men. And Vince McMahon is just this little weaselly businessman who happens to have them all under his thumb. And
Vince McMahon is pretty ripped. He's pretty big.
Okay, but he's old now.
Yeah, and like even then he was in pretty good shape and he wasn't too old then. But like, yeah.
I mean,
sure, the wrestling is fake, but I still wouldn't want that guy to punch me in the face.
No. Especially when he's not pulling back. Vince McMahon was always famous for being like, I'd never ask you to do a stunt I wouldn't do. And he would like do them too. And like Jeff and I have talked about this, and it's just like, yeah, Vince, but some people don't want to get hurt. Some people are a little more concerned. Like you're letting yourself just get beat to shit, but it's not like your day to day. You're just willing to do the stunts as an example, and that's different.
Yeah, there's definitely like a huge difference there, and I think it's interesting. There's been a lot of changes in like the industry to like try and keep people safe, and I think that's definitely a good thing, because you know, obviously there's still dangers, but I don't think people really die in the ring anymore, which is super good, because if you're breaking someone's neck in the ring, you're doing it wrong. Mm-hmm. Like that's your coworker, kind of. It's really interesting, and it's been around for so long, and it was such a big thing, but before I was really around to witness it be a big thing.
Yeah, this is a good thing.
You caught like the tail end of it.
This is a good thing, but there's nothing as crazy as like WWE of the 90s, and they're never going to do that again. And that's, for the record, this is a good thing, you know? But we're never going to see Undertaker throw Mankind 20 feet straight down through a hole in a cage anymore. Like,
unlucky.
We're never going to see shit like that again.
Well, I mean, because you had dudes like Owen Hart, who like died on his way into the ring because they were doing a big spectacle, but the ropes failed, or the harness didn't catch. And like, yeah, that's not... You know, it's a really cool spectacle, and there's not going to be anything like it. But the reason is because, you know, people were getting hurt and sometimes dying.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, yeah. But I definitely missed when wrestling was, like, a thing. Because I was born in 97.
Mm-hmm.
And then, like, my parents would for sure have, because they were more familiar with, like, that Attitude Era, like that Stone Cold, like, hit him in the face with a barbed wire covered baseball bat, like, type wrestling. And there's no way they would have ever let me watch that as a kid.
Oh, not at all.
I had to bargain for eons to get Pokemon off the ban list. So, like, yeah, no, I don't think the death matches were really on the table.
No, definitely not. God, I love reading up on some of this shit. It's just insane.
Oh yeah.
Like, I'm reading the article about the Hell in a Cell right now, and like you just see all these imposing pictures of the Undertaker on top of the cage, but all the quotes are him saying, "Yeah, I thought I killed Mick Foley. I thought I actually killed that man. And I wasn't in a good headspace. I was just standing there in dead shock because I thought I actually just murdered someone by accident." Which, hey, you know what? He didn't, and that's good. God, I love reading about this. That's honestly a funny story. We talked about Jerma last week. This is how I was introduced to Jerma, was wrestling. Because Jerma had the JWE and Germania were two video series that he did for ages. And I love those videos so much. I watched those, and I've never been so sad that I am not am not able to ever experience that era of wrestling as I was watching his shit.
Man, I want to watch Germania, but yeah, I think it would be really that would be an awesome Germa stream if he got like a budget to do an in-person live big wrestling event. Because imagine
Jackson
Jerma
he has done
as Vince McMahon.
He has done a live
with like
one.
Yeah, but like a big ass budget in like a stadium.
Okay, fair enough.
Like, can you imagine like Germa with like, I don't know, like in a position of not as like a streamer doing a special, but as like a Vince McMahon type character? That would be hilarious.
I would love that.
Because like, yeah, one night events are really cool. But imagine if he had like a long form story that he had the ability to tell once a week. That'd be amazing. Like imagine if you gave this man 3 years and like millions of dollars and a crew of like professional actors that were ready to get in the ring. God, that would be the like some of the greatest content that could ever be made.
That would make me so happy.
I think that Germa is an amazing streamer. Man, the world would be a better place if like fucking, I don't know, some mega corporation was like, hey, do you want to be the head of creative?
I wonder how much of his soul would get sucked out of it, because like,
I think you have to be gentle. You know, if you're the company, you gotta be like, completely, everything's hands off. You have to make him the final, like the only guy. You have to give him complete creative control, which no one would ever do because money.
Mm-hmm. Oh man, I think the thing that I like about Germa the most is that he has this unhinged, weird little guy energy that
he's also just as baffled by his actions as everyone else.
Yeah. Like I
love when he'll do something and be like, why did I say that? You're like, you don't know. You genuinely don't know.
I'm sure I probably sent you the TikTok of when chat was trying to gaslight him into remembering the stream that he drank his own pee.
No.
And yeah, he's just like, drink my own pee. I've never drank my own pee. Why would I do that? The pee drinking stream? It was a stream challenge. It was a goal. Oh, the pee drinking stream. Yeah, of course. Yeah, no, where we met a certain goal and then I drank my own pee. Yeah. The event stream. Okay, well, I wasn't talking about event streams. Obviously, I was talking about like normal streams. And
how much money would someone have to give you to drink your own pee?
A lot, but probably less than I want to say.
Let's go.
Because I got to be honest, yeah. I wouldn't have fun with it, but it's just, I don't know, man. I'm not that worried about it, right?
Yeah, that's like, I feel like the first question is how much could I get?
Yeah.
You know, if it's like a blind offer, I'm gonna walk them up. You know, if someone's like $200, I'd be like, no way, 500, just to test the waters.
Yeah.
But I think if pressed, I'd probably do it for like $200. I mean, how much are we drinking? If it's just like a mouthful, $200. I drink a lot of water.
Right.
If it's like a whole tank, oh man, that number goes up dramatically.
Oh yeah, it's once you start getting into the technicalities of how much I have to drink versus just do it. I
do like $200 an ounce. You do the math from there.
You know, I was thinking, I don't know if that's enough, and then I'm thinking like how little an ounce is. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I could probably manage that.
So like a shot. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't think it could taste worse than like a shot of like, I don't know, dark rum. And I've done that before.
I do like dark rum.
For money. I've paid like $3 to do that.
I actually like rum though, and I don't think that I would like pee.
Okay, well, is there a spirit that you don't like?
Tequila.
At least straight. Yeah, can you imagine like a shot of tequila cannot taste that much worse or that much better than like a shot of piss. it can't taste like it can't be that much worse, right?
I would assume it can't be that much worse, but also
and you're paying money for the tequila.
Actually,
you're getting
that's
hundreds for the piss.
I actually got the tequila for free. I've never paid for a single sip of tequila in my life because I hate tequila. But tequila with shit, that's not bad. Shout out to
I like it actually pretty well.
My friend Nick, who had his birthday, so we had a party for him. And then the bar we were at, turns out a friend of mine was there too. And it's like, oh, hey, man, how you doing? And when he found out it was Nick's birthday, he bought us all Patron shots. And he's just like, hey, how you doing? I love Patron. It's my favorite tequila. It's so good. And I had it with the lime, and I'm like, yeah, this is fine.
I think, tequila with like lime and salt is fun. But also, it can't taste that much better or worse than piss. That's my sale. So $200 is not like, that's fine for a shot. Yeah, easy. Again, I don't think there will ever be a time in my life where someone's like, hey, by the way, do you want to drink pee for money? I can't stress enough that I don't think that's going to happen.
I feel like it's more likely to happen than a lot of other hypothetical situations that I've been that I've given answers on though.
True, because I feel like there are enough parties you could be at where you could, like, someone could bring it up and you'd be like, I would do it for some money. And they're like, how much? And you're like, like $200. I feel like that's an amount that like 4 or 5 people in the room that all think it'd be really funny would be like, you know what? Fuck it. Here's like $40. We'll pool our money together. Let's see if we can't get this guy to drink some pee. Like, I don't think it would ever happen in my life to me, but I can see a situation. Man, what an episode so far, huh?
Honestly, the Warhammer to drink your own piss timeline is a very straight line, though. Let's be realistic
here.
The
Warhammer to drink your own pipeline is a straight up tube.
Yeah. The Warhammer to drink your own pipeline.
When's the last time you went to a water park?
It's been a very long time.
Yeah, me too.
I love those, I was an actual
tubes.
child last time.
I technically went like last summer. My dad's job had like a work party or like a work picnic, and he was like, "Oh, you guys should come down to go to like the water park." And I was like, "Yeah, why not?" So Mario and I went, and then we went there and like ate the food, and then it started to rain, so we couldn't go on any of the rides or like the slides and stuff.
That's a bummer.
So it's probably been like 5 years since I've been to a water park.
Mm-hmm.
Waldemir's is like pretty baller these days.
I've heard
our local theme park is really like their water park looks like it's taken itself up a notch or two.
Yeah, I haven't. See, that's the only one I've ever been to, and it's been a very long time. But it's been very cool to hear what people have been like, how much has been changing with them.
Yeah, I'm a big theme park head. I just I don't know. I didn't really get to go that many times this last summer. I didn't go anywhere local. I went to Cedar Point in like May, but that was the only trip I really took. Love me a good roller coaster though. They'd be rolling and coasting.
I haven't been on a roller coaster in too long. I like roller coasters.
Me too. You got anything you wanna bring up? Since I've truly carried the episode by talking about Warhammer and piss, and all you did was have like good takes on wine.
I was just like, oh, I do be liking some wine, and also I enjoy Germa. The only way I can relate to your project.
Here's some miniatures. Whoa, have you heard about this guy in the wrestling world? And then, yeah, I drink my own piss. The being me to becoming a degenerate pipeline is like fully on blast right now. Like we're seeing it unfold in real life.
Damn, I can't believe it.
Guy watches professional wrestling and builds a Warhammer army. The normal person to man-child pipeline is in full effect.
As it should be, if we're being honest.
Yeah, fuck that guy. He has a hobby.
I'm so excited to get back into hobbies again more. I have a day off tomorrow, and I'm planning on, I have some patches I need to sew back onto my vest. They're starting to fall off, and as long as I'm sewing them back on, I'm going to cut out my pockets again so that I can actually use them, because I accidentally sewed them shut. You know, the little things in life.
Yeah, it's nice to have projects to work on.
Yeah.
Keeps you from going crazy.
I haven't worked on any projects in too long. I think that honestly, that's probably why I've been in such a funk recently, is that I don't have a lot of fun projects I've been able to do because I overburdened myself with things to do.
Yeah, things to do that aren't projects is like rough. But having something that you're not getting done today, you're not getting done tomorrow. Hell, you might not get it done for a month, but you can chip away at it from time to time. Like those undertakings are really cool and fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to It's nice to be doing things. A lot of things be out there to do, and it's a little stuff that brings joy. Also, I've been collecting just like weird little things that have fallen off of like liquor bottles at work.
Oh, nice.
Where it's like, usually if I find them and I find the bottle they go with, I'll put them back because that's stealing.
Like those little tags that go on the top of the bottles that are like $1 off, like those kind of things.
No, like there's a tequila that has a little gold medallion that comes with it.
Oh yeah,
but
I know exactly
somebody took the medallion off and put it onto a different bottle and then left.
That's funny.
So the bottle is gone now, and we just had a spare little dangle thing. So I took the dangle thing because why not? And I've found a couple of things like that, and I want to work that into something.
Make it into a patch. No, probably not.
Nah, no reason to. But I don't know. I'm looking forward to becoming a guy who has impractical clothing that I really enjoy, that I actually like aesthetically enjoy.
Okay.
I don't know, like I've seen a lot of people have come into work with like rectangular wallets.
What do you mean?
Wallets that you don't have to fold the money in. Like they're big and long, like
oh yeah. It's like a more traditional style wallet.
Yeah, it's almost like a clutch purse, if we're being honest. But like it's just like a big leather wallet. And I'm like, you know what? If I had better pockets and like a more cohesive like outfit going on, I could enjoy that. I want to enjoy.
What does clutching your pearls mean?
As a general thing, or like
I don't know, like when someone like is like portrayed as like when someone says like clutching pearls, or like they're clutching their pearls, does it just mean like you're like egads, or is it like
usually
you think someone's gonna take your pearls?
I think it's usually in the oh my goodness type of energy, but specifically about like something that threatens your traditional conservative values as a general rule.
Okay. Someone being like, hey, those pearls are probably unethically farmed from, you know, sources and people that were being paid and mistreated. And they're like, my pearls, like that.
I can't believe you're going to try and steal my valuable necklace.
Yeah, I thought it was like you were afraid of getting robbed or something. Because like
that too, but
that's not going to help you. You can grab your pearls all you want. If I got a knife, they're coming with me.
Damn, so true. That's something clicked for me for a second, and then I lost what I was trying to say. So,
like, I was gonna commit a crime, but she kind of held on to the thing I was gonna steal. So what was I supposed to do? Steal it? Take it by force?
Guess you could.
No,
man. There's just something like, so attractive about a life of crime.
Is there?
I think so. It
never pays though.
You know, I think that's just the liberal media trying to tell you that. I think it actually does pay quite well.
The liberal media rears its ugly head yet again.
Trying to keep me from my life of crime.
Oh, you just want to listen to what the liberal media tells you, like, be nice to people and don't steal.
Big cop is out there saying, oh, it's actually bad to do crime. A likely story.
Yeah, of course, cop. If crime doesn't pay, then how come you have a job? Bitch. Me, when I see a cop, I'd be like, I don't like that guy very much. That's just me, though. Not to be controversial. I don't want to offend you.
So, just to wrap, as we wrap things up here,
Just gonna ignore me?
Yeah. I tuned out for a second because I saw some funny news.
Damn.
So, are you aware of the Liver King?
Yeah, vaguely.
Okay.
He's just like a wannabe, like, he's like, they trying so desperately to be like a primal guy.
Yeah. And he's like jacked as hell. And everyone in the fitness industry, because I remember Jeff telling me this ages ago, was like, oh yeah, everyone knows he's doing steroids.
Of course.
Because you just have to look at the man and be like, this man is clearly like just juiced out of his gourd, you know?
Yeah, and then he's angry on the internet all the time. Of course he's doing steroids.
Yeah.
His testosterone levels are probably through the fucking roof.
So,
what's the news?
The news is that it's finally been released that he's doing steroids. Like,
by who?
It was a leaked email that is just him talking about how many steroids he takes. The man takes approximately $12,000 worth of steroids a month.
Yeah, that's
which is
gonna lead to some unhealthy stuff.
It's really funny because it's a class for me, because it's like a classic example of like lying, I guess.
Dude, I can't believe a social media influencer would pretend to have information and not be held accountable to any organization and then tell a lie. Be a little deceitful even.
Like, this dude's just like, yeah, eating raw meat and raw like organs, that's the secret. That and my crazy workout routine is the secret to my body. Like, he does work out.
That's so crazy to me, though, that like someone could be like, hey, if you eat raw steak, it's actually way better for you. Yeah,
he's over here eating just be raw liver and testicles, and it's just like
sure,
my guy,
eat
vegetables.
He's probably getting it from a place where it's not like riddled with pathogens, so like it's probably safe. I mean, I would imagine if he's been doing it long term, it's fairly safe to eat a lot of different like things raw that we traditionally eat cooked.
Yeah.
We eat them cooked because,
they're not consistently
tastier, safe. And it's not consistently safe. Yeah. So like,
I think eggs are a great example.
Way
of
better.
That, We're like,
one of my favorite egg facts is that like in Japan, people eat raw eggs all the time.
Oh yeah.
it is not any safer or healthier for you to eat a raw egg in Japan than it is here. But the government tried for like decades to be like, guys, please stop eating raw eggs. And people were like, today I will eat raw eggs.
I love that so much, actually.
It's not any, like, to be fair, in the United States, it's also relatively safe to eat raw eggs. But you don't want to risk it and get salmonella.
Yeah, if you're gonna...
also, cooked eggs are tasty, too.
Yeah, cooked eggs are good.
It's a tasty dish. And you can't get sick from it. So, like, there's no downside. But yeah, they have tried for, like, decades now, like the Japanese government, to get people to stop just eating raw eggs all the time. But they don't want to do it. I think that's amazing.
That's very funny. That makes me happy
the government
to hear.
Be like, please, please, please.
Because like there's an infinite number of times where I've heard people say, actually, people in other countries eat raw eggs all the time, and it's only because of the US's farming habits, like animal farming, that makes raw eggs not safe to eat, actually.
That is partially true.
And yeah.
Because salmonella is one of those things that is the thing that causes us to get salmonella from the chickens is and can be contracted from one chicken to another, especially through like laying cycles. And so having mass farms like we do in the States does lead to, on average, a higher chance of contracting salmonella, depending on where you're getting your eggs from. But like, if you're getting eggs from a pretty good source, especially if you're getting eggs local, you're not at any higher risk than anyone else in the world. But the U.S. government has just done, the people in the U.S., I guess, have just done a better job of being like, yeah, you know what, it's not worth the risk. It's like, I know plenty of people who would probably be like, I think the election was stolen, but then be like, nah, you can't eat raw eggs, it's not good for you. So like, okay, sheeple.
Can't believe they just, they believe anything that you hear.